I would rather believe in a world where there's the potential for magic than to believe that it's all bullshit. Like, I would just, even if it is all bullshit, like, it's a moot point.
What's going on, Earthlings? I'm Tyler Backus with One Small Step Media, and this is the SpaceBar, where the people are strange and the conversations are out of this world. Today we got Clint Bruton joining us. What's up, Clint?
Howdy.
Before we get started today, you want a beer?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Can I see your ID?
Yeah.
Boom. Alright, Clint, so what's going on in the world, man? It's a strange world right now. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, when I was driving over here on the way, I meant to tell you this a few minutes ago. When I was driving over here, I looked out, I was like looking it up on the maps, and I didn't realize that you guys had a Sons of Odin corporate headquarters like a block away, which is like a white supremacist anti-immigrant group.
Perfect. I didn't even know that, man.
Finnish or something like that. Norwegian, maybe? Yeah, no, I was like, what the heck? Is that really what that is?
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Dude, I'll have to hit it up. I didn't know.
Yeah, weird world.
They're a part of the community at this point. It's crazy that it's still going on today, that people look at the color of other people's skin or their race and they think that they're better or more superior than that. Like, even going back to Hitler, like, we know that was terrible. We know that the Nazis were horrible, horrible people just completely wanting to demolish a race based on the color of their skin. So in that same context, what's your favorite color and why?
White. That's not a joke. Nah, I've always really liked like white and black, I guess. But also, I don't know, that's a hard question. It depends on the mood I am, I guess. Let's go with like really pale pink though.
Really
I
pale
like
pink?
that color, you know what I'm talking about?
Like a pastel pink?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But you know, sometimes it's like some sort of dark green maybe.
I don't want to get too political, but some would say that the commander-in-chief of our country is a racist. And for the first time, or actually second time in 30 years, we're trying to impeach our president.
Dude, I went really deep into impeachment a few years ago. There's this podcast. It's actually the only podcast I've ever actually listened to, like, that wasn't also on NPR. What's it called? It's called Slow Burn, and it's about the Nixon impeachment and also the Clinton impeachment. And so, like, it goes into like really deep details about these things, and I was floored by the similarities between Nixon and Trump. It's scary. Like, and the only reason that Nixon actually got in trouble is because the Republicans at the time said, this is wrong, and we're not going to be on the wrong side of history. And, you know, I was talking about this with a friend the other day. There are just a lot of people that are good people that I don't think at the core of their being they're racist. But, like, they're going to wake up in 10 years and realize they were on the wrong side of history. It's crazy to think that, like, people that, like, I mean, you grew up Church of Christ too.
Yeah.
So you totally understand the idea of, like, trying to, like, I don't know, level with people that you don't necessarily, like, 100% agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And especially growing up, you know, in the church, I learned to, like, love the things we had in common.
Right.
And it just seems like we do so much of the opposite these days and focus on what divides us. And I don't know, I don't even, like, I meet people, I'm totally liberal, but, like, I'm not going to say that. Even if a Trump person comes up to me and says something, I'm always just like, well, we have a lot in common too, you know?
Yeah,
it's a good day today.
Yeah, you're not going to be a jerk to a person just because of their beliefs, because we all believe different things.
And it's just scary, the idea of trying to silence the media, which is the only entity who has ever been able to effectively call out the executive. Like, those are the only people in society who have a platform to call people out who are doing things. Like, and, you know, get the public involved. And for there to be an administration who just sits here and tries to discredit things that we know are true and then lies about things, it drives me crazy, man. It really does.
Everyone lies. That's hands down, everyone lies. You and I have lied. I've told lies
lied
before.
to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've probably lied to you at some point, whether intentionally or unintentionally, because, you know, memory gets in the way of it too. But do you think that we lie to ourselves more than we lie to other people?
Oh yeah, I think that, like, in order to, like, sort of lie to other people, I don't know, I've like looked into, like, truth serum, like real life truth serum, and basically it's like a barbiturate,
Mhm.
and the whole idea is that you give someone this like thing that relaxes their brain, and then you get someone who knows how to like interrogate professionally to come and ask them questions, and like it takes a lot more effort to lie.
Yeah.
So like I think you have to actively be lying to yourself to fucking go do something, because I mean, I don't know. I've been in a position totally like I have like spent a lot of time like trying to run from myself and lie from myself, and sort of like ignore the things that were really bothering me, and it just it doesn't work, and it's exhausting. But like in order to like try and like put off this image all the time, I think that you sort of have to be almost like indulgent in your delusions.
Whatever lie you tell, it seems it always comes back around to you. Do you believe in karma, that what goes around comes around?
Well, I believe in karma, but this is how I understand karma, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on like Buddhism, but I've done a little bit of reading. It's not necessarily if you do good things come back to you. It's that the doing of good things is what leads to a good life. It's what makes you like feel okay. If you have it in your head like something's going to go a certain way, and like that's the energy you're exuding all the time, negative or positive, it's probably going to come back to you. But I think it's more about I'm being a good person because it's the right thing to do, and in turn, because it's the right thing to do, good things come to me.
Yeah.
So I guess yeah, but I think it's a little bit more. I don't like the idea of it being like an A equals B thing. It's more like you're doing A for the sake of A, and it leads to B. You know?
Yeah. Put it in like a really I think simplistic term. So you've skateboarded before. When you go to do a trick in skateboarding and you're thinking the entire time, oh, I'm not going to land it, I'm going to fall. 99% of the time, you don't land it and you fall and you hurt yourself. But if you're confident going in and you're thinking, okay, I've got this, I can do it, most of the time, you end up just landing it, your body just does it.
Yeah, for sure. And skateboarding is a good example just for a lot of things. And I love sports, and I kind of wish that, that's kind of was my first dream, is to like be an athlete. But then I just like kind of I was like, oh, music, I'm more naturally gifted at this, and I worked on it for 15 years. But, skateboarding for me is the like link between those. It's like individual creativity with like exercise, and like I think that's so cool.
I think I've learned a lot of life lessons from skateboarding. Just the fact that it's so built into what you do as a skateboarder that you fall down and you get back up and you try it again. You're not going to do everything the first time, and so you learn. You learn persistence through it.
And for sure.
You've done music for so long now, and I think when music wasn't readily available to every single person, maybe you had a phonograph or a record player or something, but it cost a lot of money, and only if you had a lot of money, then you could have one of those. It wasn't the first priority. Like food was the first priority for people. Now it's so readily accessible. We have so many streaming services. I look at it like it's like fast food music.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy, I think. If you think about it, recorded music in general, we've had music forever.
Right.
Recorded music has only been around since the late 1800s. We're less than 200 years into like music in this form of like people being able to go like listen to a record, someone else play it. Before that, you had sheet music, and the town came together, and they sang and played together, and that was how they heard those songs. So it was way more of like this, everyone getting involved like as a communal effort.
How do you yourself differentiate between like fast food music and like gourmet music?
Right. Well, I call it Instagram rock.
Okay.
There's so many people make music now that it's so saturated that we don't get to hear the really good stuff, because it's like it's kind of exhausting to try and like sift through it. Like I don't even listen to music that from someone asked me what my favorite album of the year was, and I was like, dude, I don't know. Like I didn't listen to any records this year that are new. Like I'm still listening to records from the 60s and 70s and 80s, which is the coolest part about streaming to me. Like the consumerism of music has just it's really interesting. I think people have sort of gotten exhausted by it in a way,
Yeah. Like most of the music I listen to or albums are stuff I listened to when I was younger, or like from the 60s or 70s, stuff that I have an emotional attachment to. And I don't really seem to have an emotional attachment to most music that comes out these days.
And to be fair, like maybe it's just that we're a little bit older now. I ride for Taylor Swift, just saying. That's the truth.
I read this quote the other day. I can't remember who said it, but I thought it was really interesting. They said, kids haven't changed. kids are kids.
No, that's absolutely right.
Like they're impressionable. What's changed is the way that we mentor or raise the kids. If the kids are going to do whatever they do in response to how you're parenting them or what you tell them to do.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure. I mean, nature versus nurture, I guess.
You make music. That's your passion.
Yeah.
What would you, if you had to choose, what would you rather be remembered for when you die? The music that you made and the impact that it had on people, or the type of person that you were and the impact that you individually had on people, or do you think they're mutually exclusive?
I think for me personally, like I've just struggled a whole lot with like mental health and like, you know, it took a really long time for me to get to a point where I could like, I don't know, even like exist without it being such a huge struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, if you've ever been in a place like that, you just know how horrible it is whenever people are like, I don't know, just not nice to you or like not good people. And like, you know, like I really, through those experiences of like being in horrible places and then just being like, this person doesn't even know what I'm going through and they're going to say that shit to me. It's like, I really try. I think the most important thing is to be a good person. But, I mean, I would rather be, like, I don't know. I want my name on the ledger.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I've always wanted. Like, I don't care. I literally don't care if people never don't know who I am, like, during this lifetime. Because I'm fully confident in my songs. If you're not trying to get your name on the ledger, what's the point? Because our first record deals a lot with, like, you know, before I went to group therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was diagnosed bipolar and things that have really helped me understand my struggles. Like I read this thing, Brian Wilson's like my guy. Pet Sounds is my favorite album of all time. And you know, I watched a documentary about him recently where his ex-wife at that time had said like they told all the media he had a cocaine problem because it was more acceptable for him to be a cocaine addict than it was for him to be manic depressive. And it's just like that wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
You know, and like, but I'm glad our generation isn't that way. And I think that that's the most important thing is to fucking be vulnerable. And like, you know, life is fucking hard. It's hard for all of us and like, it's just important to be a good person. But like, if we can continue to have the conversations we're having, maybe we can like help destigmatize it. Because I guarantee you know someone who's going through something that is no idea. I want to give a shout out to Oceans and Hope, my therapist, back in Abilene. Because if I had not gone to group therapy, I don't think I would be standing here straight up. And I struggle every day still, man. But I wake up and I decide that I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing is be a good human. And like, I don't know. I've seen so much of my life in my short time that like, I don't know. I just would rather spend my time on this earth like spreading goodness than anything else. And I think everyone would. And like, it's like you were saying, I think if you're doing something other than that, you're sort of lying to yourself about what the real problem is.
So you mentioned Brian Wilson of Beach Boys. Obviously been a really influential band in your life. Very influential band in many people's lives and just in music in general. Are you afraid to die?
Nah, I'm not afraid to die at all, man. I definitely made peace with my mortality a long time ago. That's sort of like the human condition is just wondering if there's anything more, I think. I call it like cosmic shit, right? Like right when I'm always on the cusp of like feeling like I can't do it anymore, like something happens and it's just crazy and I'm just like, this is one of those moments where I don't know, I feel like the universe is like saying like
keep going.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And a lot of people might be like, it's confirmation bias. And I used to say that a lot too, man, but like I've just changed a lot recently in the sense like I would rather believe in a world where there's the potential for magic than to believe that it's all bullshit. Like I would just, even if it is all bullshit, like it's a moot point. And I don't know, I just have these moments where I can sort of feel the universe being like, look, and you're like, all right.
Clint, thank you for dropping wisdom on us today, man. I really like that. Do you want to give a shout out to anybody else? Tell us what's going on with your band, what you got coming up.
Oh yeah, my band's called Indica Children. we have a record on Spotify called Bad City that we recorded in 2017, I think. And then, so if you want to go check out our music, you can check it out there. And then we also have another record coming out eventually that we've been working on for about a year called Secret Girlfriend.
Everybody click the link below to go check out their music on Spotify. Stick around, Clint. You want to play a song for us, man, and spread some of that positivity?
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course.
Dude.
Here she comes now, draped in velvet. Sunlight dancing on her palanquin. She says her new job makes her restless. Oh, but the bump in pay took my baby away from me now. In 17 days you leave for California. It's awkward in a way when I ask and you just shrug your shoulders. Here she comes now. Here she comes now. We engage in crude behavior. Despite our wireless communication errors, but cutting through the static, you can still hear her. Oh, as she says, come on, daddy, do it right for me now. In 17 days, you leave for California. It's awkward in a way when I ask and you just shrug your shoulders. Here she comes now. 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 Here she comes now.
This one's called Wonderwall.